Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry I'm late. This is going to be a room tour today. It actually takes place in a couple of rooms. So we'll start down here. This is the one of the Mark 6 original releases that I have. Don't remember which MMS number it is. Sorry about the lack of light here, guys. But I need to have lights put in here and whatnot. So normally I have Whiplash's whips. How's it going, guys? Normally I have his whips wrapped around his neck there, and then Tony's holding on to the whip in his hand. But the whips got yanked out of his hand a little while ago. I didn't put them back. I put also a head sculpt on here from the first Whiplash figure instead of the helmet, because I like that better. So it's the diecast Whiplash 2 and the War Machine Mark 1 diecast right here. I really love this figure. Sorry about it not being bright enough really to see these figures. Something I need to work on. Next shelf up, one of the two gantries that I have, or well, three. This was the original release Mark 4 gantry. How's it going, Noble? Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the channel. And that is a Mark 4 inside of that. The plastic Mark 4. And on this gantry, the original, these pieces can be flipped over. So you can either have white on this side to represent the Stark Expo, or the black and white to represent the inside of his garage. So that's the Stark Expo display there. Now, these gantries were used on every armor that he had when he lived at the Malibu house. Marks specifically, we know for fact, Marks 2, Mark 3, Mark 4, Mark 6. So we know for fact those suits required this gantry. So if you were to use this gantry, you could actually pose any one of those suits in it, and it would be 100% accurate to how things would have been done with getting these suits on. Now, the see if we can get this to focus. Must be too close. So the gantry is not exactly perfectly designed. It's like a good representation of what it is. And I've seen some people who have customized it beyond this to try to get it to look a little more like what it would have been in the movie. But it's great. It's a nice piece to have. It's big, as you can see here. And then this was the re-release of it. And on the re-release, it's literally cast from the same mold. You'll notice, though, on the original, the paint looks perfectly clear, because this would be the Expo where he was showing it off. And this is the garage. So this is where it's getting dirty and greasy and oily. And this is what's the garage piece is. And so I have here the Mark II Armor Unleashed armor in here, which is a plastic piece also, which is really neat because you can really take the pieces apart and show off, you know, the thighs, etc., which makes it really a fun piece. I hope that if they decide to redo the Mark III, because I think everyone agrees with me when I say they really need to redo the Mark II/Mark III now that they started doing the scales properly and the diecast, because it was one of the first diecast figures that they did, the Mark III was, and it needs to be revisited and done over properly. And hopefully if they do that, they'll make another Armor Unleashed, because this is really fun. It's supposed to represent when Rhodey had more or less borrowed the suit, and the Air Force turned it over to Hammer to turn into the War Machine. And we find the suit laying on the table there at the Air Force base. Here's one of my favorite pieces right here, the Ironmonger. This guy's a beast. This is one that really needs to be done die-cast, needs to be done over. I have a feeling it will probably never be redone. It really needs to be redone though. What an amazing piece. It's a beast. The chest opens up just like on the Hulkbuster does, and it came with a bust of Obadiah Stane, and you could put him in there. I took that bust and turned it into a figure. But every single one of these has a problem in regards to cracking in the joints on this hip area here. And on my video, you'll see it really good. Let's see if I can get a focus in or show you where it is. It's not going to focus for me. But here in this hip area, every one of them, they crack up, and the odds of you finding one that is not cracked are immense. You will more than likely, if you ever track one of these down, find that it's cracked there. So it just happens. These articulated, the little pistons, they move. You can display it with or without the rocket boosters on the back, so you can take those off and just have them displayed without that. All the little pistons move. The little machine gun rotates. This piece does. The barrel rotates. The little missile that comes out of the shoulder can come in and out. It's really an amazing piece. And I have him here fighting against the Mark III. I believe this is a die-cast. Mark III die-cast figure here. So other than the War Machine Mark I and the Mark II Whiplash, this is the first die-cast I have on display here. And this was, like I said, I think this was, if not the first die-cast, I don't remember. It's definitely one of the first 3 die-cast figures that Hot Toys had made. And we were extremely excited when we got these. And made a lot of changes to the options and how they were put together when the die-cast came out. And they've just continued to get better as time goes on. I'm really looking forward to that Mark VII die-cast. That's going to be an amazing piece. Now this is the Mark VI from Avengers. This figure actually is the Mark VI Shanghai release. And the colors on it are a little different than the original Mark VI. It's more orange in the red, if that makes sense. I've done a comparison video that you can find on that. So this is a plastic Mark VI. I love this figure. Before, for the most part, exactly the same, except for paint schemes and the arc reactor. And we know that from Iron Man 2, when he quickly has to put it on when they find out that the Hammer drones are killing people at the Expo Center. So he literally rushes Jarvis to assemble it. I believe the Mark IV has on the HUD display in front of it on the Hall of Armor that it's awaiting upgrade. And I imagine then they snatch the Mark IV out of there, do some quick repairs on it, shove in the new arc reactor with the new element that he invented or discovered, and off he goes in a matter of seconds. So this is a King Arts 1/9 scale gantry, and it works beautifully as far as I'm concerned for the gantry for the 1/6 scale Iron Man figures. And the reason it does, in my opinion, is this circumference here, the inner ring, represents the landing area that he lands on. And this is probably the exact size. looking at the video footage, I've compared it, and I've come to the conclusion that that's approximately the size of the land area that he lands on. As he steps off of the initial steps and gets onto this dissolving, moving platform, as you can see, the little pieces represent that, where the arms come out and snatch off the pieces as he comes down. This area actually expands larger again. So it starts off this size and goes up to where his head would be, and then it goes, and then it gets larger to encompass the whole portion of that. So this would be the point before it actually expands larger, which is perfect as well because he's still fully clothed for the most part. I put a little screwdriver there, taking his things off and chest piece, grabbing his arm, taking his face mask off, and beginning to disassemble him. And that's the position of the Mark 6 gantry from Avengers, the movie Avengers. Then, up here is the Age of Ultron Avengers without Vision. I need another Vision. My Vision is in the other room with the Avengers as a whole. This was the, I think, Toys box. Don't remember who made this Avengers base station. It's one of 3 pieces. You would buy 3 of them. I bought one to make the entire round circle where they had their final battle scene in Avengers Age of Ultron against Ultron inside that church or whatever it was. I don't remember what it was actually. And that's a Hot Toys Age of Ultron Avengers Hulk. And it's the deluxe piece. You could get either the raised up arms or the articulated shoulders. And so these arms are not articulated. This is a fixed position. You literally replace the entire bust. And it came with, I believe, 2 heads as well. I have the Mark 43 here, diecast. And Quicksilver in the only movie he was in, which is rare. Most of the time these guys have gotten 3 movies. And we have Age of Ultron, Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow. Love this piece. All the Black Widows are quite fun. Their hair is a mess. And I wish I knew how to fix doll hair. Yeah, she is a doll. Quicksilver's a figure. Black Widow's a doll. Wish I knew how to fix the doll hair. Age of Ultron cap. One of my favorite caps. We have Thor with Mjolnir. I believe this Mjolnir lights up with the lightning effect on it. We have Miss Olsen as Scarlet Witch back here. Arguably, in my opinion, the single most powerful being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. People discuss that a lot. Obviously, the top 3 would be Scarlet Witch, Captain Marvel, and Doctor Strange. And I believe I would put Scarlet Witch as the single most powerful being on the good guys of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And here's Age of Ultron. Now, there was one more manifestation that Ultron became in the movie. Hot Toys never made that. So this is the closest we get to that. It's pretty cool. He lights up red inside of his chest. If you remember, Scarlet Witch pulls his beating heart out of his body and shows it to him as she kills him. And she was about to do the same thing to Thanos, in my opinion, as she looked at him and said, "You have killed everyone I have ever loved." And Thanos looks at her very matter-of-factly and says, "I don't even know who you are." And that just, I think, fueled her rage even more. She could have pulled a planet down on him, but I have a feeling she was taking him apart, molecule by molecule. All right, let's go in the other room. All right, so these pieces I don't have a place for yet. Started putting the crossbones together, looking at his images online, seeing where the things go. He definitely needs a hard armor, chest piece, and over the shoulder piece to complete the look. The pants are supposed to be a camouflaged pattern instead of the black, but at least we have a crossbones, where Hot Toys teased us with one, and it never happened. And this Venom, oh my God. This Venom is amazing. Every time I look at him, I'm just blown away. He's too large to go on my Spider-Man shelf right now, but he will reside there. What's going on? Did you order your Scarlet Spider? I ordered two, and I'm set. I ordered, oh, I missed it. Rest of the chat. I ordered two Scarlet Spiders. Next day, I don't know. I'm glad I didn't wait. Yes. Hey, happy Saturday. Thank you. And I ordered a new Star-Lord. Infinity War Star-Lord is out. I ordered two of the Scarlet Spiders. Ordered two of the movie promo edition Spider-Men. Here's Thor Ragnarok versus Hulk Ragnarok. Great pieces here. These guys need a place. They don't have any place right now. Mark 50 versus Thanos. And as a matter of fact, speaking of, so I received email notification that my Mark 50, my Thanos, and my Black Panther should be arriving on Tuesday. So next week I'm going to do the Mark 50. Week after that I'll do Thanos, and the week after that I'll do Black Panther from Black Panther, the Luminous Black Panther. It's going to be so difficult not opening up that Black Panther before then, waiting 3 weeks for that. He's one I've been really looking forward to getting. So let's do this here. Yeah, that does look like a screwdriver, doesn't it? Of course, what's nice about this is just like in the movie, you're able to position the helmet in either way. Of course, for Thor, has to be as such. It's got some really neat weapons on the back. I've draped the cloak in a manner to try to hide the display stand that he's on. Have him in kind of a flight pose versus Hulk, his friend. Remember when he sees him, he laughs. He's like, yes, this is who I get to fight. It's going to be a piece of cake. He's my friend. Just pull the screwdriver out and stick it in there, right? All right, so I'm going to start up here. This is the shelf that represents Iron Man 3 when we see the suits arrive. The big reveal that he has suits between 7 and 42. So this is, gosh, close to 8 feet in the air, so I'm holding this high above my head. So it's going to be shaking a little bit. That Mark 35 over there I customized and made the pistons actually move on the arms because they came fixed in that power pose figure. Also, I've added the flame effects to all of these figures myself. Most of the time I literally bought extra hands and feet and just glued them onto them. A couple of times I didn't do that and just used the glue that can be removed without destroying anything. Behind there are some pieces, the 27, the Mark 9, and the Mark 20, and the little bitty pieces that came with the armors. You can see them back there. And these are in order as they showed up. Mark 17 was the first one, and then they filed in left and right from there. So we have the Mark 35, Red Snapper, Mark 40 Shotgun, Mark 17 Heartbreaker, Mark 39 Star Boost, Mark 33 Silver Centurion, Mark 15 Sneaky, Mark 30 Blue Steel. That's the original release Mark 21. And the Mark 40 1 Bones. Right there, original release. Mark 41 Bones. So that represents how they came out in Iron Man 3. Now, Bones is not necessarily in the correct spot, but it's a good place for him, as big as he is. It's all the way up to the top of my vaulted ceiling there. Right below that, I have the Stealths. 7 Stealth. The luminescence reflected panels that he discusses with, I forget the name of the kid, but we've seen him at the memorial service for Tony Stark. He returned to the movies. And the Subarctic. These were also released as chocolate and white chocolate. And this one has pieces that I bought that actually fade out. Mark 7 Stealth as well. And here we have Mark 3 Stealth, which is reminiscent or indicative of how the comics would display the stealth activity of these figures. They kind of give them a blue hue to show that the figure's gone into stealth mode or invisible mode. This is a diecast figure. Sitting right next to it, we have Mark III gunmetal, which Tony Stark has, Robert Downey Jr. has done interviews, and we see this figure on his shelf. He owns one of these, which makes this kind of a special figure in that regards. And right next to it, we have Mark IV Secret Project. And both of these are plastic pieces that have been around for years. Spider-Man promo suit, they only had the ability for me to order 2 of those. I wanted to get 3. Let me get 2. Mark IV Neon, they have the Mark VI Neon in yellow, supposedly dropping soon. This is a die-cast figure. And here's the Spider-Man shelf. I'll turn the fan on here real quick, guys. A little warm in here. Spider-Man shelf, I have the Iron Spider from the comics done by Re-Edit, the Sentinel Re-Edit. So it's kind of like their take on this. I love this figure because it really represents exactly how he was in the comics. Well, not exactly, but their rendition of it. More so than the MCU Iron Spider. Lots of Mark 46s out there. How you doing, Lynn? 46, 47, same figure. And I like this pose for the Iron Spider. It's a good pose. Right next to that we have Spider-Man homemade suit. All of the Spider-Man figures, all the way back to the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, come with the exact same webbing accessories from Hot Toys. In the new Scarlet Spider, they've included a webbing accessory that is very reminiscent of what Todd McFarlane brought to the comics when he started drawing Spidey. One of the things that Todd was really known for was this out of control webbing. Like, this webbing is just everywhere. Webbing just dangling and gobbing and just everywhere. And I ordered 2 of those, Robert. And so the new Scarlet Spider has a webbing effect added to the pieces that come with the normal, or have been coming with all the normal Spider-Man. They have now this one piece that has like 2 or 3 like looped webbing that he would hold in his hand. Very reminiscent of Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man drawings. And back here we have Electro. Jamie, what was his name? Jamie Foxx played him. Really under loved figure. The movie wasn't much cared for, but you can get this guy for $50. But the Iron Man Mark VI Neon is not yet available for pre-order. No one is selling that yet. So he's banking on the hopes that he will have some to divvy out when they come available. But no, I've not had direct communication with him yet. So here we have the Mark 45 diecast. And next to that we have the Mark 46 concept diecast. And next to that is the Mark 47. 46 and 47 are exact same pieces, just different paint schemes. And the 47 comes with the empty helmet. I really need to get one of those move gyroscopes so I can move the camera around without it shaking so much. So there's the 45, 46, and 47 on those. Am I getting started? So I ordered 2 of them. This is the Mark 5 Whiplash shelf. So we have a Tony here. I don't remember which Tony this was, but you can see his arc reactor in his chest. And he's in. I think this is a very cool. I would think was the manufacturer for this. With the suit case, and I have an open suitcase on order too. Eric Lee is selling them on PayPal on eBay right now, but he does not have any to sell. He does not have one in his possession, and nobody is pre-ordering them right now. You can't contact any Hot Toys distributor, be it Toy Sapiens, Falcon Hanger. You can't contact anybody and place that on order yet, legally. And there's the Whiplash Mark 1. What's his name? The actor who did that. He kind of burned his bridges. He didn't like the freedom of artistic right that he felt he wasn't given in the creation of this character. So he didn't return. Mickey Rourke is his name. So here we have the original Mark 5 with a face helmet that I created. I made that. Took a Mark 33 head sculpt and put it inside of a, come on, focus for me. Put it inside of a Mark 5 helmet. So this is the original Mark 5. And the faceplate does close down. And you can either pose these with a battle damaged arm or without a battle damaged arm. So you have battle damaged pieces or not. And back here is the diecast Mark 5, which they did an amazing job with. Absolutely amazing job. And I have it pretty much opened up as most as you can. The legs are really cool how they have that done as such. Those are 1/6 scale size oil drums. Actually, I think spaghetti sauce cans. Here we're getting into a dark area where we can't see the figures very well, but we have the Mark 6 diecast and Loki from Germany, where the Avengers show up as the Avengers again and take on Loki to capture him. Kit bashed Loki. I don't remember where I got that suit, but I love it. Came with the staff as well. And Captain America concept with both shields, and he's black. It's really cool. And here we have Johann Schmidt and the Red Skull. It was a total kit bash from a couple of manufacturers who make authentic World War II suits and costumes. And the only thing I don't have on him is right there. It should be the his little Red Skull insignia on his tie, and not the little Nazi one. I'd have to find someone that would custom make that for me, a little Red Skull one, and or maybe print one off on the computer. But there's the two bad guys right there. It was really nice to see him return in Infinity Wars and Endgame. And here we have the other Hulk piece. If I can get out of this way of the light, the alternate for the Age of Ultron Hulk. articulated arms and shoulders. And back there's some pieces I need to put in the box. Here we have King Leonidas with one of his women at his feet. So that was the Sparta Warrior, Lady Sparta Warrior by Thyssen. And I put a custom head sculpt on there. Probably should replace that with a Thyssen body. That would be perfect to do. That would be perfect. And right here's my Ant-Man Wasp shelf. Really looking forward to the Ant-Man and Wasp figures. I don't remember which one is which, but I really like these guys over those. I don't remember which one was which. Which one was the Marvel Select? And all my different Ant-Men from Hot Toys, 1/6. Guys, look how dark that is. Sorry, guys. Man, see if I can do something about that. Can't see anything in there. Jeez. Where are my Venom and my Crossbones? There we go. That helped out quite a bit. Set this down for a second. There we go. We have light. All right, we have Hot Toys Ant-Man right there, and a King Arms Yellow Jacket Hot Toys tease with that, and it never happened. That's a 1/9 scale Yellow Jacket. Right next to that, we have the 1/9 scale Ant-Man, and then drops down to like a 1/12th, and then a 1/13th, and then a, I don't know, 1/32nd, and then like a 1/64th, and then like a 1/72nd, and on and on and on. I really get down there. But I really like these two, Ant-Man and Wasp. They look good with the Hot Toys versions of those. And down here is my Star Wars shelf. I've ordered the juiced 1/6 scale land speeder. That's going to be a great piece. I'll have to get Episode 4 on Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi. So these are all Sideshow astromechs, except for the BB-8 and the BB-9. Those are Hot Toys. And this astromech is a Hot Toys. But all the ones that open up are all Sideshows. So, of course, the R2-D2. And these two are identical R2-D2s. One of them happened to come with dirty feet. You can't see that. And one came with clean feet. So this is the clean feet one. And this back here is a dirty feet one. Identical pieces. These two R2-D2s, the ones that opened up from Sideshow, the deluxe versions, what they call them. And one of them they shipped to me, he looks like he's been on a spaceship, and the other one they shipped to me, he looks like he's been on Tatooine. So I'm happy to get that. Kind of shows you the customization that still goes into these figures, that no two are identical, exactly identical. And on the BB-8s here, the original BB-8 is this brownish one. That one was only available through getting the Rey figure. It's the only reason I have Rey. And that Rey has been put onto a Thyssen body. So that is a Thyssen Rey right there. So she's seamless from head to ankle. No, head to toe. That's a seamless ankle as well. So the only seam then is her wrists and her neck. And I dyed that body to get it to try to match her head. I think I did a pretty good job. C-3PO, the only C-3PO that's been released so far from Sideshow. Hot Toys has not announced one yet. And this is the re-release BB-8, which came with, you could have either bought the BB-8 or you could buy it as BB-8 BB-9 package, which I did. And it actually came with the little thumbs up propane torch, which is what we needed in the first one, which never came. And there we have, of course, our 5D4. That is the prototype, so they claimed. I died, oh my goodness. I tried several things. What a process that was, and nothing really worked the way I really was wanting it to. I don't recommend trying to do it. I ended up using a lot of makeup to try to stain the body in that manner. Probably what I would really recommend is using fabric dye in the hot boiling water on top of a stove, soaking the body in that manner. Because we're dealing with silicone rubber, and you have to get it to soak in. So it's a mess. It really was a mess. But I'd be interested to hear how you guys have attempted or tried some of those pieces. I have all these guys opened up as much as I can with little accessories stored into them, because the deluxe came with, I think, 3 or 6 of the little articulate or the little arms that R2-D2 has in him that do different things. And then if you got the exclusive deluxe version, it came with 3 more. So I had enough to put at least one in those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it must have been 3 and 6. So it must have come with 3 the first time and then 6 for the second one. So each guy has one little arm in him sticking out doing something. And over here are the Iron Legion, and I wish that they had made all 5 of them. Of course, I've seen Terrence had his custom made. This white is not white, it's like a pearl. So to find a customizer that's willing to paint over that, gee, what a lucky man to have someone that would do that for him. But these are the Ultron manifestations as well, the growth of Ultron also. So that's the only 3 and number 4 that they ever made right there. Hot Toys. They teased us with the number 1, and that never came to fruition. Down here we have Daphne and Velma from Scooby-Doo. Just kind of chilling out. I am getting that. You better believe it. Oh yeah. I am getting that land speeder. Here we have a Netflix Daredevil. I wished I'd picked up that Netflix Punisher. Oh man. Really need him. There's the Mandarin near Automata in a Fison body. And good old Stan Lee. That's a Fison body, so you bought the accessories and they put it onto the Fison body. Seamless body. Little robots from near Automata. But over here I have a 1/6 scale Camaro. I would one day like to get painted like my Bumblebee. And a Formula race car, or whatever it is, Grand Prix Monaco race car for Tony that will be chopped up or done something with in the display one of these days with the Mark 1 Whiplash. And up here we have the Hall of Armor. Got the little arcade back there. Pepper looking endearingly and lovingly and angrily into the helmet. And the Obadiah Stane figure, where I used the head sculpt from the Ironmonger to give us a Obadiah Stane. So that's a suit that I picked up. I don't remember who made the suit. And of course, the Mark 1, which hopefully will be announced as a diecast soon. And here we have a Mark II diecast. Little junk table with different things on there. Tony in the flight test for the Mark 42 prototype armor. Mark 42 was a prototype, by the way. The Prodigal Son, he named that one. Mark 5, that's a plastic Mark 5 back there. Mark 6 and the Mark 7. And again, more junk on the table. Avengers logo diorama base that came with the Ultron Prime. And up here we have the Hulkbuster 2. A Mark III diecast that I tried to paint into a Mark II. So it represents the one that Rhodey took. And then we have the Mark II that was never in the movie, Iron Patriot, and the Mark II that actually was in the Avengers, New Avenger. All these are the exact same cast, just different paint schemes. Identical armors. I have, by the way, you and Dummy here. And up here is the Mark 44 Hulkbuster in all his huge, immense glory. You see him standing right next to that Mark II. Look at the size of that. It's insane. And, of course, being in his garage, this piece would travel down through the ground and into his Hall of Armor. And we have the Mark 42 continuing down, being displayed. And with an empty helmet that I made, cut it open, took everything out, and gave him an empty helmet. And these are Mark 9. It's a plastic. It was available only with the purchase of pepper pots as well. So I'm gonna take these off so you can see the figures better. These are made by Toys Box. These are, I think, 3.0. Toys Box. Hall of Armor 3.0, I believe, is the number for these guys. Great little display cases. So again, the Mark 9 was only available with the purchase of pepper pots. Not buy the Mark 9 separately, and did not come with a head sculpt. So that's my head sculpt. Put in there. Let's get this light turned around over here. I'm gonna add some light to this. There we go. Essentially, it's a Mark 7 and a Mark 17. So essentially, it's the Mark 20, only backwards in regards to the hips. So the Mark 20 Python has the hips from the Mark 7, and the Mark 9 has the hips from the Mark 17. Other than that, it's a Mark 20 Python, the Mark 9 is. We were told that this was the suit that was used at the end of Iron Man 3, that Pepper Potts used to destroy Killian, and it is not that suit. When you purchased the Mark 9, it came with Pepper Potts, and it came with that arm piece, but actually, the suit of armor that she used to destroy Killian was the Mark 8, which we have not received yet. Next to that, we have the Mark 15 Retro. Very cool looking figure. He's chromed out, is how he comes. So the original Mark 15, if you remember, is up here, and he's black and silver. Thanks. I got the text when you sent it to me for Eric. I sure did. And like I said, I researched that Mark 6, and it is not for sale anywhere. He's pre-selling for something that he doesn't have yet. So he's basing it off of futures. So just keep that in mind. Mark 20 Python. And I made that head sculpt again. It did not come with that head sculpt. So I take a helmet and I just chop up the inside guts to it and then put a head inside of it. I love the retro too. I really like how that red and gold turned out. Really did a good job on that. And that Mark 15 is a neat suit as it is. Very aerodynamic. That and the Mark 40. I have out of order here the Mark 23. If you notice, these are trying to be in numerical order. I put that on a Mark 1 diorama figure stand. And this is the Mark 23 Shades. And he's like in the digital camo. That's why I decided to put him on that. Well, probably close to 200. And I did order 2 of those Scarlet Spiders. And this is the Mark 21 re-release, the Chrome. I think this was called the Shanghai version. It was released in conjunction with the opening of the Shanghai Disney store in China. And the only way to get this was third party because they were only selling it, from my understanding, to people who went to the Shanghai Disney store and bought it in person. There is no other way of getting that. So I bought this from a third-party reseller. I'm very happy to get this piece. Love it. And with Mark 7 diecast coming out soon, I hope they redo this as well. Been easy to redo for them, just paint it gold. And right here we have the Mark 22 Hot Rod, which again is the exact same figure as the Mark II War Machines. So 4 figures they made from that. Definitely showing off his ego, right? So continuing in order, after the 22, we have, like I said, the 23 is out of order, and then the 24 Tank, which is a Mark 17 in the brown and silver, kind of like an army color, if you will, like a tank. It's literally the Mark 17. And here we have the twins, Mark 25 and Mark 26, Striker and Gamma. And identical castings, different paint schemes. The green one was supposed to be, they're heavy construction suits, and the green one was supposed to be like anti-gamma radiation. And the little pieces shoot out. You can see there's one on the right is collapsed and the one on the left is open. It's like a jackhammer. You can take those off and display them without those if you wish. And right next to him is the 27 Disco. Florida Gators colors. Mark 36 Peacekeeper, I forget. Which armor was that? This Mark 27 Disco, Mark 26 Gamma, Mark 25 Striker, Mark 24 Tank, 24, 25, 26, 27, 36 Peacekeeper. Which is just like the Mark 35 Red Snapper. Now the Mark 35 Red Snapper is a PPS-03, so it's the third Power Pose figure that they made. And this one is articulated the same, but because the elbows are articulated, it made it a Movie Masterpiece Series figure. Other than that, it has no other articulations than the Mark 35. So my Mark 35, I made the waist able to be moved. This one, the waist does not move. It's a fixed waist. And I cut my Mark 35 open so his waist does move. You can see that in the videos that I made of that. Quite a huge task doing that. A lot of work. And I'm pleased with how it turned out. But it was a lot of work. So I will not be doing it to the Mark 36 ever. And this is the Mark 41 Bones Retro, which is kind of chromed. Really cool looking figure. And he comes apart. It's the exact same figure as the Mark 41 regular release, only red and gold chromed. Really pretty. Don't know if you can see how good looking this figure really is here in this video. It really is a really good looking figure. Just like the Mark 22 with the flames on his feet. The hot rod. Mark 22 hot rod. And again, does not come with that head sculpt. I made the head sculpt. If I remember correctly, that was the hardest one I ever made. I started making a head sculpt for the Mark 36 and never completed it. Now let's plug this in so the battery doesn't go dead. Here's my juice. Continue the rest of the tour on the final wall. Start at the bottom. So here's a Doctor Strange. First movie, Doctor Strange. Let me get some light down here. So here we have Doctor Strange. I have one of his openings, and I'm going to figure out a way of putting it in front of him. I really think it needs to be there. It comes with that wraparound New York Sanctum. It's called King T'Chaka. And he's really cool. It's the exact same suit as Black Panther's suit, only painted gold. And then they put pants on him. But that's a Black Panther suit, only gold. With Black Widow and Captain America from Avengers Infinity War. And it scares me whenever they start doing these pieces, helmets and spears for other characters. It makes me believe that we're probably not going to get those Black Order pieces. Over here we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. We have Teenage Groot, Rocket Raccoon, Star-Lord, I'm holding a little cassette tape, and Yondu with the prototype controller on his head with the crazy arrow going everywhere, flying around in the air. Sorry I can't get any closer. I don't want my battery to go dead, so I've got it plugged in right now. Teen Groot and Rocket. Right above this is my Fison wall. I sure did. I ordered one of those. Sure did. Thank you very much. So here's Lady Death version 1 and version 2, and I have them displayed in different manners. So I have two of the version 1 Lady Deaths, and I have one of them sitting on the throne from version 2 Lady Death. And the version 1 Lady Death is holding the version 2 Lady Death sword, which is metal. Version 1 sword is plastic. So the version 2 Lady Death on the far left is holding the version 1 sword. I think he does look a lot alike. I was going to compare him to the coat. Where's my Star-Lord at? Oh, I have him in his rocket thing. Because I don't remember if the coat was the Vampirellas, the SHCC release, and then the Asian Vampirella. Love these figures. You cannot go wrong with a Fison figure. They are amazing. Yeah, that's my thought process. So I have Star-Lord down here in the long coat, and I have Star-Lord up top with the short coat and his helmet on and his rocket pack. So I will probably, with this third Star-Lord, put him on with the half helmet and no rocket pack, with him jumping on the little orange pieces. Here's the Deadpool shelf with the Sideshow Deadpool right here. So Sideshow Deadpool is to present the comic release versions, the comics of Deadpool, because every artist puts their own little spin on a figure or a character when they start drawing them. And so this is not necessarily one exact Deadpool, but kind of like multiple incarnations of him. And so that's what the Sideshow did with this Deadpool. And I like it. I really have fallen for the many incarnations of Deadpool. So he definitely belongs here. And behind him, we have the better of the two screen appearances of Colossus I never cared for the X-Men Colossus. He didn't seem very colossal, but this one definitely gives us a real Colossus. So Xavier walks over to the keyboard of the movie. Got to see the whole movie. Just saw a clip. And this is the first Deadpool from the first movie. I have him holding the chicken, which came with the sideshow. No, that came with Lady Katana, I believe. And have him holding his little unicorn from Deadpool 2, and having him holding the neck collar from Deadpool 2 also. Just kind of hold on to the junk. And this was the later release. The initial people who had them shipped to him had wrist problems, and mine didn't get shipped to me for a very long time, 6 months or so after everyone else received theirs, and I haven't had the wrist problems that they experienced. And right down here we have on the right, the Toys Era Squirrel Pool resin figure. And I think this is not Toys Era. It was Gentle Giant. The Squirrel Pool is a Gentle Giant. This Dog Pool is a Toys Era. And I have him holding a hand grenade from Sideshow Deadpool. He was part of all of the Deadpool Dead Core storyline, where all of these Deadpools come into play. We get to see essentially every Marvel character or incarnation that you can imagine of life or Earth has a different Deadpool, and we see many of them in those comics. And I'm gonna do my best to try to collect or manufacture as many of them as I can. But there is Headpool, the living zombie head from the zombie universe Deadpool, and Kidpool, the total kit bash there. I used the hands from Lady Katana, Lady Deadpool, and the head and his I don't know, they're not really lightsabers, were from the Gentle Giant bust that came with the Squirrel Pool, this other head pool, and this dog pool back there. Came with 4 pieces. So I used that kid pool to turn into this kid pool. And back here is a dusty version of Deadpool. And I had to change out his belt. So I really wasn't pleased with that. In the movie, the belt buckle stayed nice and shiny. And I really should have used that belt buckle, which is even shinier. But the belt buckle I had available to me was from the first Deadpool, so that's the belt buckle but I have there. But it's supposed to be shiny, not supposed to be dirty and dusty. I love the dusty Deadpool. I love all the Deadpools. And there's another head pool and a Deadpool Pikachu, which was never manifest in any of the comics or anything, but come on. You gotta have a Pikachu, right? Because if there's a Deadpool in every conceivable universe, there'd have to be a Deadpool Pikachu. There'd have to be. Right there we have, in the back, the Ferris Bueller bathrobe that we see Deadpool wear, and the trainee shirt. And there's some quarters and the subway token and different things. A little picture of Hugh Jackman that he has stapled to his face. And here's the Deadpool 2 Deadpool. And the one, the mechanic. Love this guy. What a great job Toys R Us did with this. Great job. An amazing figure. Right there. And back behind there we have Lady Katana, which does not come with high heels, but Deadpool 2 does come with high heels. So I decided to put the high heels on her. She comes with regular shoes, and I have her shoes in, I think in this case over here. But this is Lady Deadpool, which she was in the comics, and I think her name was Wanda Wilson. And she looks great. I love her. And next to her is the Steel 2.0, Colossus from Deadpool 2. And he's a little more muscular, a little more sinewy. Just got him recently, and I really love him. You can see how big he is compared to the other figures. And this is the Deadpool shelf right here. And then we have one more shelf. And I call it my Avengers shelf. It's kind of like everybody else. So essentially anyone that was ever an Avenger, and pieces that really don't belong anywhere else, like I have Loki and Hela over here just because they're with Thor. And then way down here I have Thanos and the Chitauri Warriors. So we'll go over this real quick. We have Black Widow from Civil War. And again, I love my Black Widows. Can't go wrong with a Black Widow. I don't care which one it is. With War Machine from Civil War, number 003. So all the way up there to Iron Patriots and all that are just 002. So War Machine Mark 1, Mark 2, this is Mark 3, Mark 4 from Infinity War, Mark 6 from Endgame. There's also kind of like an Iron Patriot in Endgame. So I wonder if that's Mark 5. Don't know exactly, do we? And here is my only Vision that I have. I wish that they'd made like a dead Vision. I mean, that sounds so morbid, but like they made a dusty Deadpool, they could have made like a dusty Vision and ripped a little piece out of his head. The thing I wish that they did that they never did is they should have made this light up. I mean, come on, how hard would that have been? And here's the new Scarlet Witch. And this is what the movie release Spider-Man will look like without the helmet. I would love to have a Gwenpool. I'll have to make me a Gwenpool probably. I've been thinking about that. But this is the movie release also, so it'll look just like this. This is the original Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, or Tom Holland Spider-Man. And it could represent, in this case I have it representing the Civil War movie where they had the fight at the airport. But you could also use it to represent Spider-Man Homecoming, and you could use it as well to represent the Infinity War, and it's also in the beginning of Far From Home, which I have tickets to go see. I will be seeing that the night of July 1st. Back here we have Black Panther, and it did not come with that head sculpt, which made 0 sense to me. So I had to order that head sculpt from a third-party manufacturer, and I love it. It's a great rendition of the actor. It really looks like Black Panther. And behind him is Maria Hill. I'm glad they finally made one of her. She was a necessity. And here we have the Mark 46 fighting Captain America. So the other Mark 46 I have is the concept version, which is the red and gold one over there in between the Mark 45 and 47. Right over here. So 45, 46, 47, that's the concept. And this is the Mark 46. Let's get this plug back in because it said the battery's running low. So definitely kind of keep this going here. We have Agent Phil Coulson. Remember his first name? And Bucky from Civil War. Cap from Civil War. Nick Fury from Winter Soldier, if I remember correctly. I don't have the first Nick Fury. And Ant-Man from Civil War with a 1/12 scale Ant-Man, and then like a 1/72 Ant-Man, and like a 1/96 Ant-Man. There, and it's real small. I'd like to get like a life size, like my size Ant-Man. That'd be a giant man. And there's Hawkeye of Ultron with Falcon and his little buddy down there. I forget his name. Red Wing, I believe. There we have Loki from Thor Ragnarok and Hela. Kate Blanchett played an amazing Hela. They really did us wrong on not giving us a head sculpt with her hair. Really needed that. But, I mean, this is cool with this helmet. But come on, we really needed that hair. And the eyes. What a beautifully portrayed character she did. Wonderful actress. And here we have Thor from Avengers Infinity War. And this is supposed to be luminescent, so all these little light up. You can turn these on, and these are supposed to be luminescently. His eyes are supposed to glow, just like Black Panther. And here we have the original Groot with the rocket with Star-Lord in front of him. So this is the exact same Star-Lord as the one on the bottom. I missed the first Star-Lord, but this is portrayed as the original Star-Lord. So I have the whole helmet on him. With Gamora, I need a Drax. I do not have a Drax. It's original Guardians of the Galaxy Gamora. And same thing with Yondu. This is the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 Yondu. And I have him displayed as Guardians of the Galaxy Yondu with a little baby Groot hanging out in his little cage. We have a Bruce Banner back there, so that's a Hot Toys Bruce Banner. And then there's a Crazy Toys Hulk. He's like 1/5 scale, just fine by me. And his green's a little off. He's a little too green. Needs to be dulled down a bit. And here I have 4 Chitauri warriors, 2 commanders and 2 foot soldiers. I have his little face piece off, holding it in his hand. Different renditions of these guys doing what these guys do. So one of them was the 2-pack, and one of them was, so I bought 1 commander, 1 foot soldier, and 1 commander foot soldier 2-pack. And I believe the commander foot soldier 2-pack came with, I think, this extra gun that goes on his back. I don't remember. That was the only thing different in the 2 pieces. And back here we have the original Thanos from Guardians of the Galaxy, where we see him or Avengers, but it's called the Guardians of the Galaxy Thanos. He's much smaller than the new Thanos, which I will be getting this next week. But I'm still going to keep him in the throne because it really tells that story. And who cares how big he is when he's on the throne? You can't see it. He's on the throne. So that is that. Obviously, I need a Drax to complete my Guardians of the Galaxy figures. I need to light these up. I need to put them in cases. I want. I'm happy you guys stopped by to have a look at things. Sorry I was started late. Pieces. Sometimes they get reposed. Sometimes I just look at them, just admire them. The beauty of them is amazing. This work my ass off for it. I'll say that. There they are, so you can take it in. And again, it's just bookshelves. I have figure display cases. If I did, it would be a different story. So just displayed on bookshelves. This is a table that I have this standing on. But let's see. So in the 1/6 world this last week, we've had a lot going on. Let's get this camera turned around. Let's talk about things. Oh, there's my hand. So as we were discussing, we have Scarlet Spider, which was announced, and I ordered 2 of those. I love the Scarlet Spider character. He was first brought to us in the 90s with the Clone Wars story, and the story was that all the way back in the original 1960-something comics, the Jackal cloned Peter Parker and cloned Gwen Stacy. And they gave the illusion in that comic that that clone was killed. So we find out in the 90s, 30 years later, but in comic book world time, it was only like 3 years or something, that the clone lived and had been living in Nebraska or Kansas or someplace in the Midwest and was the Scarlet Spider, and used the name Ben Riley. Ben from his Uncle Ben, and Riley from the maiden name of his mother. And he shows back up in New York. And what I liked about the Scarlet Spider the most was one of the struggles I had with Peter Parker is that genius kid capable of creating web shooters, web fluid, all these little inventions that he made when he first became Spider-Man, and then nothing. Years went by, he didn't do anything. Remember Tony Stark in like a year created 42 suits in like a 2-year period, a 3-year period, constantly changing things, inventing new elements, and the brain always working, not able to shut it off, you know. Peter Parker did nothing after making his first Spider-Man suit. Made his little wrist shooters, made his web fluid, made nothing else. Created nothing else. Genius kid. Ben Riley, on the other hand, advanced more and made web bombs and targets and darts and all these other really ways of controlling the web fluid and different types of shooters and all that. And I was like, that's nice and refreshing, and it's good to see that obviously the continuation of making stuff wasn't stagnant as it was with Peter Parker. So I really enjoyed that. And they ended up killing him off in the comics, but he came back several times later in different manifestations. And I don't know whether or not it was the same story, Ben Riley, or if it was just a retelling in a different universe. Spider-Man, Scarlet Spider. This Scarlet Spider is from the PlayStation 4 movie video game, so he's a little different than the original incarnation of Scarlet Spider from the 90s in the Clone Wars series. But it's close enough, and I ordered 2 of them. And like I said, every one of the Spider-Mans that Hot Toys has made, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans, the Iron Spider, the Civil War Spider, the Homecoming Spider-Man, and the Homemade Suit Spider-Man all come with the exact same web accessory. A little black styrofoam with like 5 webbings in there. They all come with that. The Scarlet Spider comes with that, plus this new Todd McFarlane style webbing where it's just looped around his hand a few times, because Todd McFarlane, of many things that he brought to the creation of Spider-Man, was he brought this uncontrolled webbing that just, this webbing is everywhere as Spider-Man's going about doing his thing. So I call that a reminiscent of that. So I ordered 2 of those. Of course, there's the movie promo edition Spider-Man, which is exactly the same thing as this original release Spider-Man we were just talking about a few minutes ago, but he comes with none of the accessories. Doesn't even come with a head sculpt. But you can buy from like 1/6 Kid or 1/6 Outfitters the school jacket and the hoodie and some jeans for like $35. So if you want to add that onto this figure, if you missed the Spider-Man the first time, or if you want to, because remember he's in 4 movies, that suit. So if you want to, display one of those other movies and you wanted to get that suit, you can do that as well. And then the Star-Lord was announced. There were some more pictures that came out of Darth Maul with his little, I don't know what you'd call it, his cycle. I don't know what you would, a bike. And Darth Maul is a really cool character from the Star Wars universe. It's funny, they create these really cool ones like Boba Fett and Darth Maul, and then they kill them off. But Darth Maul is really cool. And if I may be wrong, but from my understanding, the actor who portrayed Darth Maul in the movie goes to Comic Cons and actually battles attendees to these Comic Cons in lightsabers, and it's really neat, the videos I've seen of him doing that. So he really embraced Darth Maul quite well. And let's see what else is going on in the 1/6 scale community. The land speeder, if you haven't ordered one of those yet and you are a Star Wars fan, what is wrong with you? Juiced as Link, you can find him on Facebook. I think it's called Jazz Inc. is what it is. And I believe for $399 or something to that effect, you get a 1/6 scale land speeder. And it looks amazing. Amazing. For, $300 something, $400 or whatever. I don't even know what to say. I mean, that's what the price of a Iron Man costs. And here you have a land speeder, and he's only making like 100 of them or something to that effect. So they're going to be extremely low edition. And Hot Toys certainly isn't going to make one. Oh, and also Juiced announced that he will be making the Millennium Falcon cockpit. So he also makes the Millennium Falcon little chess area, little bench, so you can pose your figures there to play the battle chess. And he has announced that he will be picking up the mantle that Hot Toys teased us with and never made, the cockpit to the Millennium Falcon. And he said that's going to sell for about $1,000. He's put his feelers out to see if anybody was interested in that. So if you are, contact him and make sure that you get put on that list, so that he can contact you later. I have a feeling there'll probably be a greater call, would be the proper word, I guess, for that than the land speeder. So I don't know if it would be as limited edition as the land speeder is going to be, but at $1,000, I don't know how many people will be purchasing that. Also, the land speeder is a lot less expensive at $300 something, whereas the Millennium Falcon cockpit will be $1,000. But so many different people you could pose in there. You know, if you're a huge Star Wars fan, I'm not sure if I will be getting the Millennium Falcon cockpit. That's a tough choice, tough decision there. And it's not a matter of the money, it's a matter of the size of displaying it and the pieces that go into it. Flash Gordon, as you're saying, Ming and Flash have been announced, and they look great. They look really good, especially Ming. Ming really looks really good. And from the Flash Gordon movie that came out like late 70s, cheesy, campy movie, great movie. And the figures are amazing. So that's a new figure that's come out recently. What's going on in the DC line? Can't think of anything new that was in DC. It's so funny, you know, January, February comes around and it's like dry for release of figures. And then as we get close to, you know, Comic-Con and whatever else, they start dropping every other day. Figures just coming out of everywhere, and your wallet just starts crying for mercy. Oh, please, no more! I can't take it. And that's where we are now. So, we're going to be spending a lot of money on figures in the next year or so, and that's what makes it so difficult to get cases, because when you're constantly dropping $200, $300, $400, $500 on figures, you can't spend $100 something on a case, it seems. Jeez. So, guys, what else have you got for me? How long have I had you on here? Oh, not too bad. An hour or so. Started late this morning. Oh, what did I do with my coffee? Oh, man. Need some coffee. But I had a feeling that I wasn't going to have anything unboxed this week. I knew it was going to be that way. And I don't have any announcement of anything coming beyond that. Really? On the Big Chief, huh? Interesting. Ah, the Doctor Who's. You know, it's funny. I watched Doctor Who when I was like a little kid. The Miguel O'Hara 29.9 costumes would be great. I literally hope that they make all of the Spider-Man that have been shown in the PlayStation 4 video game, and the Spider-Man from Into the Spider-Verse. And with Far From Home, we know for a fact that he has a red and black spider suit, and we know for a fact that he has a black spider suit with goggles, which is probably going to be their Marvel Cinematic Universe / Sony Universe rendition of Spider-Noir. I don't know, but I hope we get a Spider-Noir. I've thought about ordering the little Spider Ham that they made by, I think it's Hasbro made. You push his little ear down and his eyes spin around. Because he appears to be a pretty good rendition of a 1/6 scale Spider Ham. But yeah, I want all of them. I want all of them. 29.9 Miguel O'Hara in either version. The black version, of course, or blue. Scarlet Spider was probably the biggest one on my wish list, I have to say. They definitely need to make an MJ figure. I'm probably going to pick up. What is this? Is this the fan that's causing this light to flicker around? Let me turn the fan off. I'm probably going to buy one of those Fights and Red Sonyas and cash that to make it a Mary Jane. I have never ordered anything from Jazz Inc. I've been an acquaintance of his on Facebook for, I mean, for years, and I have seen him make the dioramas for the Star Wars figures of the Death Star, the scene for the fighting of Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan, and some of those are sold out. And I've not heard anybody ever say anything negative about him. So I have faith in his dealings, but I've not personally myself ever purchased anything from him. So this land speeder will be my first, but no, I don't think he's a rip-off scam artist or anything like that. I think he's invested a lot of money and time in the development of this land speeder, and the images look amazing. Check him out on his site. And if you're on the fence of getting it, you need to jump on it now because he's only making this from what he says. He's only making just this one run, and that's it. Yeah, they need to make a Mary Jane, and I mean like the redhead Mary Jane. And I don't, I really don't want a Gwyneth Paltrow Mary Jane. I really want a comics version Mary Jane, and I really don't want this MJ in the new Spider-Man. That's not Mary Jane. It's MJ, and I think her name is Michelle or something like that. And she's like, just call me MJ, and I got a problem with that. So, and only because she's not the redheaded Mary Jane, she's Michelle. And in the Spider Verse, Spider Man is with Mary Jane and all of them. So, yep, yep. That's how I feel about that. I mean, come on, Mary Jane is the jackpot, right? She tells us that. Face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot. And MJ is not the jackpot, not in my opinion. She's a little snot. I don't like her. I don't like her character. She just has this attitude which is not cool. Mary Jane's attitude is different. Gwen Stacy was um, the Gwenpool. You know what I mean? She was the daughter of the chief of police, and Spider-Man caused her death. And it's quite interesting how the Gwenpool storyline comes about. Because in her storyline, Peter Parker's dead, and I like to see the blonde-haired Peter Parker, the blue-eyed Peter Parker, all the different Peter Parkers. It was funny when watching the Spider Verse, and I'm like, Peter Parker's not blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and that ended up being what, Peter B. Parker, and then you had like the what did they call him? The old busted Peter Parker wearing the sweatpants and not even different shoes and pot belly and the just old and tired. He's like, yeah. There's always a something that has to be plugged into a so and so. It's how it always works out. And it's funny when you read the comics. It's always something, right, that he has to do. What do you call it? I wasn't watching McCullough. I forget what it was. Oh, Joy. That's work. So I've got to go, guys. Thank you very much. And I will see you next week on Unboxing of Mark 50. Peace.